need a high-end designer or a lot of money to get a luxe look. Be your own interior designer.
This is Affordable Interior Design, the podcast.
Here's your host, Betsy Helmuth.
My next question comes from Stacy, all the way in Plaucheville, Louisiana. I hope I said that right, Stacy. She writes, "Hi, Betsy. I have just remodeled my house, and as you can see, everything is white and bright. I like clean, simple design, no clutter. I'm a bit OCD. I do not know what my two-word phrase is, but I'd like to add some things, barstools, sideboard, something for the foyer to warm up the space while also keeping it simple. Please help." Stacy, you mentioned that I can see what you're talking about. There are no pictures attached, so I can't see. But you can either write back and send me some pictures. That's one path, or you don't have to do that. Either way, I'm going to give you some advice right now that I think will help you on your path and help others on their paths to discovering their two-word phrase, because it's very important. Just today, I was driving around the road, taking my beloved dog to the vet. He's actually not here with me today. He's at the vet and I'm feeling so lonely. He is my shadow. We're never apart except when I go to Vegas. That's the only time we are ever apart. He is constantly with me. Yeah, I miss him. Sorry, tangent. It's just what's on my mind. Anyway, moving forward. I was taken to the vet and I was realizing that my space, because I've been designing it for so long, like 3 months now. Oh, I'm going to sneeze. Okay, not going to sneeze. That's actually why he's at the vet. We are watching my mother-in-law's cat, and I am really allergic to cats, and this is a long-haired cat who is shedding a lot, and my dog is actually allergic to cats as well. So he's having major allergy issues with this kitty cat. He has no other emotional issues with the kitty cat. They get along just fine, and I love cats. But this cat is making us both physically ill, and I think that's not okay. It's month 2 with furry cat. And yeah, there we go. Anyway, that is to say that I was driving home from the vet, or I was driving to the vet. Can't remember when this revelation took place. But I've been designing my house for like 3 months, and things have been dripping in slowly. And also, I'm not able to give it total focus like I am with my client projects because it's such a big project. Most of my client projects have less than 30 items I need to find. My house has over 200 items that I need to find. Most of my clients have a deadline, right? Betsy, we're going to have our presentation on this date. I have 2 presentations this afternoon. My house does not have a deadline. I want this to be the forever house. So not only am I willing to invest a little bit more, but I want to find those special pieces. And typically I haven't lived like that. Typically I've known that I'm going to move every 5 to 10 years, or that I'll need to replace my furniture because my kids are wreaking havoc, right? And now they're older. There are some rooms they're just not going to spend that much time in. I want this to sort of rise to meet the space. The space is so lovely. I can't be shopping IKEA. I just can't, right? I've gotta go there in some ways, but I don't love going there. Even if I can financially, the exciting thing for me about interior design is finding that bargain, getting that great deal, knowing that it's perfect. I don't mind a splurge every now and again, but I'd rather wait for the good deal personally, because that's part of the fun for me. That's part of what makes this piece so rewarding. Look at everything I got. Look at this amazing rug. Would you believe I got it on sale from $2,000 to $700? That just makes the story for me. And also, this long-haired cat is a barfer. She's a barfer, and she also eats the Christmas tree. And so we've got little piles of barf everywhere. So if we're going to continue to watch this cat, I'm going to need a rug that did not cost $2,000. Okay. I was thinking to myself in the car, Betsy, this space, because you've been designing it so long, is getting a little diluted and you're forgetting your 2-word phrase. You need to go back to that touchstone. You need to keep reminding yourself of what that 2-word phrase is, because we're beginning to depart a little bit and it's starting to lose that solid vision. And that is what the 2-word phrase is. It is a touchstone that you need to refer back to every time you make a purchase, every time you make a selection. Is this either a style word or the feeling word I have chosen for the space? And if it's not, then it doesn't fit in this space. right? So my entire downstairs, because it's all open to each other, is mid-century modern. That's the style word. And the feeling word is fancy because the house has a lot of ornate carvings. It's old and it just feels a little bit fancy. And I want to rise to meet it. Mid-century modern can feel so pedestrian, can feel so simple in a beautiful way, but it doesn't feel fancy. And I want like some ornamentation. I want some carving because it would look strange to have a house full of bland, plain furniture and have the walls have all this ornate carving on it, right? So that's my 2-word phrase. And I have been feeling the longer I work on this project, the more I need to hang on to it because I just start looking at things that light me up but don't reinforce the vision. And the longer your shopping list, the more opportunities there are for you to get off track. So having that 2-word phrase is so important. So use the 2-word phrase as a touchstone. You can have different 2-word phrases for different rooms in your home. But if you do have an open space that connects, it does need to share the 2-word phrase with the other spaces in order to create that cohesive feel as you go from open room to open room. Now you're saying, I don't know what my phrase is. The key, in my case too, was going and looking at inspiration photos. I started by Googling the style of my home, which is an English manor house. I Googled it because the architecture is very significant in terms of having a dominating presence. And I want to see how other people have solved that riddle. So I started there, right? And then I found some pictures that were very colorful, that were moody, that had the vibe I was going for. And I translated that because a lot of the pictures had antiques. And I didn't want to go that direction fully, but I wanted to have the opportunity to bring in antique touches or, say, a filigreed gold gilded frame that I find at an auction mixed with a mid-century modern sofa that I got from Crate and Barrel. This is the vibe I'm going for. This is the layering I'm doing throughout the space. And this is the intention I come back to each time I'm shopping. The key is to find those images and then find the through line, right? Pick 3 to 8 of your favorite images and find that through line. Oh, wait, there's mid-century modern touches in here, but there's also a lot of ornate filigree. Or wait, I know I love mid-century modern. I've always wanted to design in that way, but I also know that this space needs more ornamentation, needs heavy pattern and embroidery. How am I going to make those two work? The key is spending time at the beginning, finding that path, creating that 2-word phrase so that you're designing from a real foundation of clarity. Then you can go shopping to all these different places and know instantly what's going to work and what's not going to work. Spend the time up front finding that phrase, even if you have to ask a friend, have a glass of wine, look at house together to find some images that really light you up and work with the architecture. A big thank you to Aton and the Embassy who wrote our theme song. A shout out to Catherine Heller who owns the podcast shop and is our editor extraordinaire. We also want to thank Ginny Sunasan and her team at the Savvy Podcast Agency for their help with our social, our YouTube channel, and so much more. We also want to thank Uploft, which is our parent company who supports this podcast. And lastly, we owe a huge debt of gratitude to you. Thank you so much for tuning in and for all your support.